such a juicy episode of Movie Math. There is so much happening on today's episode for us to discuss. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any of the tea. So hello and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where, despite some people's best efforts, you know who you are, the Minecraft movie could not be killed. Why do some of you hate this movie so much? I'd be really curious to hear your explanations down below. No judgment. I'm just surprised. I mean, it's a hit movie. Who doesn't love a hit movie? Personally, I think it's important to realize that movies, as I always say, are a mass market art form, and that they do not all need to serve the exact same purpose. Some movies are just meant to be stupid fun, and this very much is one of them. And while a lot of people didn't take the Minecraft movie very seriously, it took Minecraft the game very seriously, and that made a really big difference. I think that is a key lesson to take from this success. And so, like a crazy mashup of Barbie and Five Nights at Freddy's, oh yes, there will be more Barbie discussion, it's very relevant here, but the Minecraft movie, like those two, came out of nowhere. This movie was expected to open with just $60 million. It clocked that in day one when you rolled in Thursday night's previews. Also, record-breaking for the video game space. This is incredible. And it ended up more than doubling the prediction. Hollywood was never so happy to be so horribly wrong, which I think means they're still trying to figure stuff out in a very rapidly changing landscape. Warner Brothers was hoping to have another Super Mario Brothers. I said it was going to they didn't want another Dungeons and Dragons. They would have been happy with a Lego movie, but they really wanted a Super Mario Brothers, even opening the same release date the first weekend in April. And you know what? Technically, they topped Super Mario Brothers with the biggest opening weekend ever for a video game adaptation. Why do I say technically? Well, as you might recall, Super Mario Brothers opened on a Wednesday going into Easter weekend. That Easter, it moves around all over the place. This year it's April 20th, with Sinners being the Easter movie of the year. But anyway, by the end of its first weekend, it had actually climbed all the way to 204.6. We'll see where Minecraft is in 5 days. But you know, that Easter holiday is a real boost to Super Mario. But of course, and you know, Minecraft will still be playing Easter weekend. Perhaps it'll be the choice for many families. That's actually pretty smart. So anyway, Super Mario Brothers went on to clear $1 billion. It cleared $1 billion. And some are saying, do you think Minecraft might do the same? Could it? Should it? I mean, of course. I mean, who are we to say what should and should not clear $1 billion? Some of you think you are. I just want movies to clear $1 billion. And of course, there is the new $2 billion club. But anyway, I think it's too early to tell, and here's why. Sure, it does seem to be on track with Super Mario Brothers and Barbie. The opening weekends are around the same, so it seems to be on track to join those films in the $1 billion club. But, and some of you, by the way, are also like, but Minecraft only has a B+ cinema score, Grace. Well, so did Joker, and that also made it to $1 billion. Remember, anything below a B+ is a problem. I mean, of course, you'd always prefer to be in the A range, but B+ is workable. But also, let's not forget about Five Nights at Freddy's. Look, I want Minecraft to make $1 billion. As you know from my review, I loved the movie, and I love this for Warner Brothers and everyone involved, as we're going to discuss. But we gotta be honest, that's what movie math is all about. So I gotta bring up Five Nights at Freddy's, because like Minecraft, Five Nights at Freddy's was less about the movie and more about the party at the multiplex. So while Super Mario Brothers had a second weekend drop of just 37% and Barbie 43%, Five Nights at Freddy's dropped 76% in its second weekend. I don't think that's going to happen to Minecraft, but I got to tell you, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if it's going to have the kind of hold that Super Mario Brothers and Barbie did. I think Minecraft, I personally think it's a great movie. I don't think it needs the party for you to have fun to watch it, but I'm not quite sure why everyone's going this weekend. It might be just for the party. We don't know how general audiences feel. So what do you think? Do you think Minecraft could join the $1 billion club? You know who's really happy right now? Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, the heads of Warner Brothers Film Division, who are this close to being fired. I don't know if this is going to save them, but it is their baby. They're 100% behind Minecraft. They didn't inherit it from the previous administration. It was in development for a very long time, but they're the ones who greenlit it and shepherded it. But do you know who did get fired, as we've been discussing? Josh Barbie Goldstein, the head of marketing, who got fired right after he did a wonderful job launching Superman with the first trailer in December. They were like, great job, Josh. Bye. So horrible. And it seems, by the way, that he had planned out Minecraft's marketing campaign right before he was fired, leaving what was left of his marketing team a treasure map to box office gold. If you saw Minecraft, you would understand why I just pronounced treasure that way. Jack Black pronounced that word with his own unique way. And when I saw the movie again, it's so funny. And when I saw the movie again on Friday night, when he did that, it was pretty quiet in my audience, except for a little kid in the back of the theater who erupted in just the greatest, most sincere laughter I ever heard. It was so amazing. It's part of the fun of going to see this movie. So yeah, Joshy baby, did you make a treasure map for Superman's release? Obviously not, because the Superman campaign is not going very well so far. According to, maybe he grabbed it on his way out. He was like, you can have the Minecraft one, but I'm burning the Superman one. All right, so according to the trades, Warner Brothers team was able to actually target zip codes with their digital campaign. This is like stuff out of the political handbook, although nobody seems to know what they're doing in terms of political campaigns either. But Hollywood seems to be able to still get real results out of that kind of minute targeting. And they offered tons of ticket promotions online, including one that I caught from Uber. I saw this in my feed, with Uber offering parents the opportunity to book free rides to and from the theater for their teenagers to see this movie. They're like, you don't have to see it. You can send them in a car without you and then ask them how it was when they came back. I think that's hilarious. And you're going to see when you look at the age breakdowns that a lot of parents did not go with their kids to see this movie, which is fascinating to me. What promos did you come across this weekend for Minecraft? For instance, another one I saw was a last-minute push, at least it seemed last minute, for their partnership with McDonald's, where Warner Brothers and several influencers created fun social media videos. I'm very interested in this hot lava chicken nugget sauce as a chicken nugget connoisseur myself. Did anyone have it? Is it worth getting? I didn't get a chance this weekend, but I wonder how long it's going to stick around. But there are two other things that happened online that may or may not have been happy accidents for Minecraft. You never know with marketing teams these days. They're very good at removing their fingerprints. So one, a copy of Minecraft leaked online like Thursday night, I think, that had unfinished VFX. And despite multiple posts on social media, Warner Brothers never took any of them down. And most people seem to be showing the same clips. But it was fun, interesting, and I bet made at least some people say, hey, maybe we should go see this movie with the completed VFX. And then two, all hell broke loose at theaters across the globe in a fun way. That's right, starting Thursday night, audiences were going crazy for this movie, just like with what happened with Five Nights at Freddy's. Stories and videos started to flood online. Chicken jockey! I've seen this clip from the movie. This shot of Jason Momoa's face is etched in my brain, but in a good way. I still haven't gotten tired of watching this clip. It's just so fun to see different audiences react. Some of you, when I posted this online over the weekend, somebody was like, those people are paying to make fun of that movie, Grace. You can make fun of Minecraft for free, just on social media. You don't have to pay to go see it to do it. Like, for instance, at my Friday night showing, when I saw the movie again with a regular audience, a bunch of rowdy teenage boys showed up at the last minute, and we were all nervous in the theater. You know, you're like, I can't believe you guys paid Dolby prices to be so disruptive. And they ruined a lot of the trailers, by the way. But when the movie started, they were very respectful, in fact. And they actually ended up enhancing the experience. They got a round of chants of Steve going towards the end of the movie, and it was so fun, everyone in the theater joined in. It was an incredible experience, and I saw many people online saying that they went to see Minecraft several times in this one weekend just because they wanted to experience the event aspect of the release. What did you do? And all of those posts were going on social media. This is fantastic. And I think it inspired a lot of people that, hey, maybe they shouldn't miss out on the fun that was erupting in theaters across the globe. I even saw some of you from outside the United States, where audiences are a little bit better behaved, saying that even in your country, someone said in the UK, I've been to the movies in Europe. They are very quiet in the theaters. And you said even in your multiplexes, people were really joining in. Walk-up business, which means tickets bought day of, was 57%. Hollywood is trying very hard right now. Please don't wait to see these movies until they come out in your home. And you know what's not in your home? Experiences like this. 32% of Minecraft audiences said they only go to the movies every other month or so. And another 32% said they only go a couple of times a year. And they went to see Minecraft. That's fantastic. Again, what was your Minecraft experience like? From rowdy teenagers to I saw somebody online talking about a kid in their theater loudly and cutely explaining Minecraft to their parents during the film. I can't get enough of these stories. I think they're fantastic. And why? Because I not only like the movie so much, but I think it's wonderful to see people enjoying being at the movies again, to have fun myself going to the movies again. You know, I told you that for the past couple of weeks, when the lights go down at first, the movie theater's practically empty because people are waiting to come to the last minute to avoid all the trailers and commercials. And so you feel like it's not that big a deal, like no one's going. And this, once again, seemed like a party. It was wonderful. And I love that little kids can be part of this as well. And a lot of credit belongs to the creative team behind this movie who allowed this all to happen. So let's turn our attention to them. Just as Greta Gerwig was a brilliant choice to direct Barbie, and an unexpected choice. I mean, now it makes perfect sense, but it was an odd choice. Usually studios go with a safe bet. We're going to talk about the Legend of Zelda movie. But Warner Brothers had an equally brilliant idea, although Greta Gerwig was Margot Robbie's idea. Credit where credit is due. But to match Napoleon Dynamite's Jared Hess with Minecraft was, particularly in hindsight, really a brilliant idea. Hess gives Minecraft just enough edge to appeal to teenagers and adults, but still the film is appropriate enough for families with young kids. Minecraft has been around since 2011, which means some people who played it as kids when it first came out now have kids of their own who play Minecraft. I heard from a couple of you where that was your situation. It's a real crowd pleaser for sure. But I do think teenagers were what really moved the needle here. They were a huge driving force. So let's dig into that. Because not just with social media posts and shenanigans, some of you are horrified, but I really respect this recreation of the chicken jockey thing from these two teenagers. But ticket sales. The biggest group was 43%, 18 to 24. In fact, 78% of the audience, 78, was under the age of 24. That's amazing. And the audience strongly leaned male at 67%. This is also a bit, by the way, it reminds me of the mania that erupted for Minions 2. Remember that? And that, while it didn't reach $1 billion, it got very close. So I think I don't think Warner Brothers would be disappointed if they just ended in the $900 million range. Again, Minecraft only cost $150 to make. That's so incredible. Now, do you know who was in both Super Mario Brothers and Minecraft? Mr. Jack Black. Now, Jack Black has been around for a long time at this point, and like any actor, he's had his ups and downs. But wow, he is on a major up right now. He's got 4 franchises going simultaneously. He's got Jumanji, Super Mario Brothers, Kung Fu Panda, and now Minecraft. Jumanji and Super Mario Brothers have sequels coming up very quickly. And I bet you the Minecraft sequel is announced any second. For movies like this, they usually have the follow-up sequels already set in the contracts. So unless Warner Brothers was very short-sighted and didn't lock somebody down, maybe they didn't lock down Jared Hess. I wonder who might be slowing down the announcement. I bet you it's announced this coming week. I think probably maybe I would announce it towards the middle of the week to try and help get people to see it in the second weekend. That's a good idea. That's what I would consider if I were Warner Brothers. How do I keep this party going? Now, this is huge for also Jason Momoa, who is one of the producers on Minecraft. Like Margot Robbie. I love to see a glow up, and this is fantastic. When Aquaman hit $1 billion, the only DC movie to do so, although the second one was not good, Momoa was one of the first current actors to make a home at Warner Brothers, and he'd soon be joined by Margot Robbie and Timmy C. It's not like these actors can't go and make movies in other places, and they do, but their home is at Warner Brothers. So at first it seemed that maybe Warner Brothers had jumped the gun by investing so heavily in Momoa. Many of us were like, what are you doing? But now they seem like geniuses. He's going to be in Dune 3. He's returning for Dune 3. And now putting him in Supergirl as Lobo? What an amazing idea. I mean, that movie is currently filming to be released next summer. And now not only will it hopefully ride Superman's cape, but stand on Minecraft's blocks. So, Universal has a huge hit with a video game adaptation. Huge hit. And now Warner Brothers looks to maybe have the same. 2 actually for Warner Brothers, when you count The Last of Us on HBO, with season 2 right around the corner. And now that Hollywood knows that the success can be duplicated, you know, as I always tell you, Hollywood loves a formula. So I'm sure every studio is telling their development department, get me a video game IP. Now, Zelda is a big one, and Sony landed that. We're all shocked that it's at Sony instead of with Universal like Super Mario Brothers. And it's going to be live action with Zelda, although Minecraft now makes it seem like, you know, maybe that'll work. That just got its release date for March 26, 2027. What? I thought the magic weekend was the first weekend of April. Well, it turns out in 2027, Easter, which again is a moving target, is March 28th. So Zelda is actually set for Easter weekend that year. So it is, hoping to follow in the footsteps of Super Mario Brothers and Minecraft. But I don't know about Wes Ball as the director. This puts even more pressure on him. And he really is an old school studio choice. His Apes movie was very solid. I liked the film, but it was no Minecraft. He is, again, as I said, a safe, solid industry choice. He's not an interesting choice like Greta Gerwig or Jared Hess. Who do you think would be a better choice to direct Zelda? But who chose Wes Ball or helped choose him? Producer Avi Arad, who's had a big problem doing adaptations over the years because he has that old school problematic, when it comes to creativity, Hollywood thinking. He was behind Uncharted, also for Sony. And even with Tom Holland, it did okay. It was okay in terms of how it was received, but it's not like these other movies. Halo, totally different team, but that didn't work out either. So this isn't a slam dunk, but again, it's now proven that it can be done. What other video games do you think are out there that studios could pick up, right? Who's left? I've seen a lot of talk about Red Dead Redemption, which of course is from Rockstar Games, which also does Grand Theft Auto, with their upcoming 6th entry, one of the most hotly anticipated games of all time. Those to me, if I were a studio head, especially a kind of studio head who could release that type of film, like, I don't know, maybe Warner Brothers, I'd be looking at those movies. In the past, I think those games have been considered kind of problematic, but the attitudes, they are shifting, and you can't argue with sales. Obviously, you couldn't do direct adaptations for some of those elements, but I think if you got the right director, you might be able to make it work. Do you think you could make, Red Dead Redemption or, Grand Theft Auto work as movies? Also, it's a two-way street, baby. What are people talking about in the Marvel space these days? It ain't the MCU as much as it is Marvel rivals. That's incredible. So bottom line, as we've been discussing, comic book movies are starting to sputter a little bit, but I think it looks like the next big craze in Hollywood is video games. As for the rest of the top 10, Minecraft hit the other movies hard, with drops at a minimum of 50%. Hoo boy! There were a couple of other new releases. The Chosen is actually still doing pretty well as an event, with both parts 1 and 2 in the top 10. Part 2 fell a lot, but still, they have a steady week-to-week audience going there, but not so much that I'm sure Prime Video isn't excited to get the exclusive streaming rights in June. And then also, though, something that didn't work out was Neon trying to launch Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. He had a writing and directing debut with Hell of a Summer, and nobody seemed to care. All right, but of course, the other big story at the box office right now is what's happening to Snow White. Many saying, including myself, that Minecraft is the anti-Snow White. So yes, Snow White said, oh, we're going to be fine. Minecraft is going to lean male. It's still spring break weekend. Or still spring break, But it still fell, 60% in its third weekend. No one's showing up for this movie. Mufasa, it is not. Remember, people were like, maybe it's another Mufasa. It's not. At this rate, Snow White might not even hit the century mark domestic. That is so horribly embarrassing. Typically, sometimes when North American audiences reject a movie, sometimes the overseas box office can save it. But this thing's just been rejected by everyone on the face of the earth. Whew, put that on the poster. The movie is only at 153 worldwide. And again, it needs a whopping 675 just to break even. It's not even probably going to make it to 200 million. Oh my God. Clearly, Snow White is one of the biggest Hollywood flops of all time. Wow. It's so bad that Disney put their Rapunzel live action movie on hold, even though they landed Michael Gracie to direct. What a loss. Live action Rapunzel and Hercules are fantastic ideas. So putting Rapunzel on hold screams to me that Disney was planning to make a lot of the same dumb, obvious mistakes they did on Snow White. It's so crazy. Bob, you're like, why would you put that on hold? And they're like, we were going to mess it up just as bad. And you're like, all right, let's hit pause. Bob Iger had admitted when he came back that Disney has a problem of putting message before story instead of vice versa. Message is very important, but story goes first. And it seems that even though Iger has identified the problem, he's having trouble rectifying it. I would guess that a lot of the suits below him don't agree that that's a problem. And so, I think that's why you're seeing a lot of the suits slowly but surely being swapped out. So once Disney live action is back in order, I hope they get these live action adaptations of Rapunzel and Hercules back up and running. What do you think? Do you still want to see those live action adaptations? Oh, but the problems for Disney don't end there, because Nielsen has caught up to Daredevil Born Again, and it is not good. So forget the overall chart, Daredevil couldn't even debut on the originals chart. But wait a minute, it just opened with 2 episodes, and all these other shows either are deep into their first seasons or are working with multiple seasons, and Nielsen bunches all the seasons together for these charts. So I perused memory lane for some comparisons. Loki, season 1, premiered with 731 million minutes. Ahsoka, 829 million minutes. And then even The Acolyte recently managed to do 488 million minutes with its debut, which would have qualified it for this chart. So Daredevil Born Again is even lower. No doubt about it, Disney Plus's original content is really struggling. And just like Snow White, the problems are super obvious. Disney Plus shows don't have high enough stakes. Not enough happens. They're always like, oh, want to see a preview for another season? And you're like, no, I want to watch this season. Plus, the episodes are too short. Even Daredevil's, I think even those episodes are too short. And they continue to follow very obvious patterns. But there was intense interest in Daredevil when it was first announced that Kevin Feige was bringing it back. And to drop the ball like this is pretty shocking. It's one thing to miss on the bold swings, but it's quite another to not even be able to shoot fish in a barrel. What's going on with Marvel? It's very interesting. How much longer can this continue? Nobody has wanted to touch that division at Disney, from Bob Iger to even the fans. But again, how much longer can this continue? Do you think Daredevil not performing is that big of a loss, or do you have a way to explain it? All right, as for what did make the Nielsen charts, with the overall chart, Prime Video's Reacher Season 3, or all the seasons, is still number 1. And Running Point continues to be a huge hit for Netflix. And The White Lotus, for the second week in a row, remember, they're a month behind on Nielsen, but it is still on the overall chart. Just barely, but it's there. On the originals chart, 1923 continues to do very well with its new season, while Paradise in Season 1 has had its season finale this week. So you see it get a nice healthy binge bump, and it surged to 6th place. Severance Season 2 is right behind it, still a few weeks out from its own season finale, where I'm sure it will enjoy a binge bump as well. And Invincible, it's back on the chart. That's nice to see, with its second to last episode of Season 3, The Invincible War. Incredible episode. The last 2 episodes of Invincible Season 3 were amazing. So that should also get a binge bump and just a viewership bump on next week's charts. Then here's the movies chart. not anything too interesting happening over here. There's the new Plankton movie, which went directly to Netflix. And speaking of Netflix, now let's move over to their charts. With movies, sure enough, Sophia Carson had another big hit for Netflix. Remember, we were just talking about that last week. She was a really big deal with Purple Hearts on the streaming service, and she was able to, even a couple of years later, repeat that success. Give her a show, Netflix! Give her a show! And then right behind it, The Electric State might be number 2, but its numbers continue to be weak, especially considering its budget and the talent involved in front of and behind the camera. What a black eye for the Russo brothers. I consider, Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown really just, Millie Bobby Brown has pretty bad luck outside of Stranger Things, although she usually draws more viewers, but I think Chris Pratt was just doing the Russo brothers a favor, which I'm sure he maybe partially regrets. All right, so the shows chart, a lot more interesting. So Adolescence is the real Netflix superstar of the moment, not only continuing to dominate on this chart, but it's already accessed a new one, Netflix's most watched shows of all time, surpassing Stranger Things Season 3. At the rate it's going and how close these shows are to each other, Adolescence could end up in the top 5 on this chart, maybe even get as high as 3rd place. That's incredible. And while The Residence might not be a pop culture moment, it is a strong performer with a steady week-to-week performance, going up about 2 million views in its first full week on Netflix. The Residence has a lot of episodes. When I was watching it, at some points it seemed like the show would never end, but in a good way. I was like, wow, this is going forever. But I really liked it. I thought it was earned. So while some of you binged it, you did it, I think it was designed to be a long-distance runner, so to speak. I finished it over the course of a few weeks. I really loved it. I'm very excited. When the show ended, I thought it was a little frustrating that you could never guess who the murderer was. We kind of could. But anyway, I think that it ended up being, I thought, very rewarding. Obviously, their goal was to create another iconic murder mystery character in Cordelia Cup, and I think they succeeded wildly. So as I said, in fact, when the show ended, I was like, where's she going next? I'm thinking Paris, maybe Versailles. Where do you think Cordelia Cup's next mystery should be? It just has to be a location as iconic as the White House. All right, so on Netflix also you can see the ripoff of The Traitors. It got off to a nice start, so it worked. And this is the highest I think we've ever seen, or at least in a while, have seen the WWE Raw. Although this chart's pretty weak outside of the top few shows. Then on digital, with Apple's charts, recent releases Black Bag and The Monkey are on top, as they should be. I think both of those are better as a digital watch than in theaters. As you know, I thought Black Bag was a little boring, but The Monkey I thought was really, really interesting. But, I think both don't have broad appeal. But they're number 1 and 2 on digital, so that's fantastic. Well, did you check either one of them out? What did you think? Well, fellow new release Paddington in Peru is a bit lower than maybe one would expect. I think the third Paddington, they might have waited too long. It just didn't hit quite the same. But they're still going to keep going with more Paddington movies. And the Hunger Games bundle is still in the top 10, as Apple has been pushing bundles for the past few weeks, but this one has hung on. Perhaps because the new book just came out, and fans are loving it, it seems. The Hunger Games, it still seems to be a very strong IP. They did a little nice title treatment for the upcoming movie, which is set for next Thanksgiving season. I think it comes out the weekend before Thanksgiving. They still haven't even cast it, so I guess they're going to make it real quick. All right, so what about what's coming out this next week? Here comes the traffic jam. As you can see, Warfare, Drop, and The Amateur all hit theaters this weekend. And there go Minecraft's premium screens as it loses both IMAX and Dolby to these films. They're all splitting Dolby, whereas Amateur is taking almost all the IMAX showings. There's some John and Yoko documentary also coming out, which will take a couple of those IMAX evening shows. It's a big deal for Minecraft because a third of their opening weekend came from premium format screens. 15% from 3D, by the way. The gimmicks still work, it seems, and Minecraft will obviously still be available in 3D this coming weekend. But that's not all. Angel Studios has an animated religious film with a surprisingly strong mainstream voice cast coming out. And then the last chapter of the Chosen's event will also hit theaters. Yikes, why didn't one of these, or at least two of these things, maybe move? What a gauntlet for Minecraft and all of them to try to survive. There are going to be some losers. there are going to be some losers. Who do you think should have blinked? On digital, Mickey 17, we're going to try this again. Supposedly it comes out on Tuesday, along with Novocaine and then The Assessment and Magazine Dreams. Those last two not lasting long in theaters at all. Also, starring actors who are having Marvel drama. All right, on streaming, Disney Plus has the new Goofy movie documentary that goes behind the scenes. That comes out tomorrow on Disney Plus to celebrate the film's 30th anniversary. I have a little treat coming out tomorrow that's related to that. I just recently rewatched the Goofy movie. Really holds up. That would be a fantastic double feature for you, or two-night event. Then on Thursday, Prime Video has Viola Davis's presidential action movie, G20. I hope the internet isn't too cruel. If she's lucky, they'll just ignore it. Because, when the trailer came out, it was not good. Then on Friday, I just want to say, I applaud Viola Davis's ambition. I loved The Woman King, and I love that she says yes to herself, but I don't know if this one's going to work out for her. Maybe she'll have the last laugh. We'll see. Then on Friday, Disney Plus has yet another documentary, Pets, from Bryce Dallas Howard. Finally, with shows, The Handmaid's Tale, also a documentary, that has its final season starting on Tuesday on Hulu. While on Thursday, big day on Thursday, Hacks Season 4 starts on Max. They gave me all the episodes in advance. I didn't know where that show could potentially go with a fourth season. It found a place. Absolutely brilliant. And big shout out to new cast member Robbie Hoffman, who is hilarious. What a find. Really, really funny. Max also has more Gremlins coming out. Also, Black Mirror is back with a sequel to that famous USS Callister episode. Then on Friday, this turns out it's a big week for Mad Men alum, as John Hamm has a new show starting on Apple TV. I've seen 6 episodes of this show. I should go back and see if they added more. But it's about a finance guy who, recently divorced, gets fired from his job and starts stealing from his rich friends to make ends meet. It's a very good show. I really liked it. I think Apple TV is really on a roll. And it's very smart of them to offer more than one good show at a time because, of course, the studio is also up there, and you can also binge Severance Season 2 now. Then Doctor Who returns to Disney Plus on Saturday. And yes, The Last of Us Season 2 is 1 week away. Well, tonight, The White Lotus will have its season finale, which is an hour and a half long. Oh boy! All right, so that's this week's movie math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And do you think Minecraft can hold on to the #1 spot? Even if it dropped like 60, even close to 70%, I think there's a strong chance that it will because it just opened so big. But what do you think? Share those thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.